How's it going, everyone? Sorry for what's going about thousands today. It's July 26, 2021, and today we're going to focus on Invest 90L, which is just off the coast of Florida and Georgia at this time, and determine what chances it has in developing. Well, before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content. So let's begin by taking a look at the current water vapor imagery for the entire southeast coast at this time, and you see that there's barely any thunderstorm activity surrounding Invest 90L. If I were to show you this satellite imagery with no context at all, you would just assume that it's just a regular sun shower. However, this is Invest 90L, and it still does have a chance of formation into some sort of tropical cyclone. However, the good news is that the chance has been lowering, and part of the reason is just the amount of dry air that Invest 90L has been absorbing. We're having a lot of stable air and circulate around center circulation, and that's making it very difficult for any sort of convection to occur around center circulation. Taking a look at the current chance the National Hurricane Center is giving us to develop within the next 5 days, you see that now the chance has lowered from previously what was a medium chance up to 60% chance of tropical cyclone formation has now been cut in half into only a 30% chance of tropical cyclone formation, as there's been a weakening chance as of late, where we're seeing that percent of tropical cyclone formation go down over the last couple of days, and you see that the chance has lowered, and the area of where it could potentially develop is just off the coast of Florida, the northern coast of Florida, and just south of the Georgia coast. But the chance is currently low, which is definitely very good news, as there's just not a lot of convection that's really supporting this thing. If we're taking a look at the sea surface temperature anomaly, you see that currently where Invest 90L is located, the sea surface temperatures are cooler than average. And while that might not matter much because the sea surface temperatures in this region are still around the mid 80s, it does matter just a little bit, because when even if the threshold temperature is more, even if the sea surface temperatures exceed the threshold for hurricane or tropical cyclone development, if it's over a cooler than average sea surface during that time of the year, and that typically brings a lot more stable and sinking air to that region, because in the areas where the sea surface temperatures are warmer than average, a lot more lift is bound to happen, while there's a lot more sinking that air that's bound to happen in areas where the sea surface temperatures are cooler than average. So as a result, this storm has to deal with probably more sinking air than if it were in an area where there's above average sea surface temperatures, which is hindering it from developing, especially when it comes to thunderstorm activity overall around center circulation. And taking a look at the wind shear, what's interesting is that currently the wind shear over Invest 90L is pretty light at this point. We're only seeing 5 to 10 knot winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which is more than sufficient enough for the most part for a low pressure system to develop into a tropical cyclone. However, the thing that has been hindering it from happening is just the amount of dry air Invest 90L has been in training, and also it's due to the fact that the mid-level low and the low pressure in the lower levels of the atmosphere aren't really in the same area, and that makes it difficult for the energy to pretty much converge in the same area to maximize its potential, not only when it comes to convection but when it comes to wind speed as well. And since they aren't in the same location, it's very difficult for that to happen. And while the more than light enough wind shear will certainly help the mid-level low and the lower level low coincide with each other in the same area, it typically takes a while for tropical cyclones to do that, and by the time it might have even a close chance of having the mid-level low and lower level low in the same area, it's gonna be well inland, and it'll probably be in the area where the conditions will be much more hostile for tropical cyclone development, which will inhibit it from really developing over the next 5 days. So if we were to take a look at taking a look next at the let me just go out tabs. So if we were to take a look at the current wind shear map for the GFS model, you see that the wind shear is light and it's expected to remain light, but the dry air will be the thing that's going to hinder this from developing over the next several days. So taking a look at the dry air, you're going to see that right now, Invest 90L on the northwestern side of this is just just has a lot of dry air, and that's definitely going to be a problem with the storm. That's definitely hindering this storm from really developing. This dry air is as a result of an oncoming trough moving through, along with a ridge that was coming behind it, and it brought a lot of that dry air further southward. So it pretty much went into the center circulation of Invest 90L and pretty much definitely weakened its chances of development. The European model also isn't lenient on really developing this. While we do see a little bit of cyclonic vorticity around center circulation, you see that eventually it will head along the shore of Florida and Georgia by tomorrow, and then after that it should maybe bring scattered showers throughout the southeast, including South Carolina, including Georgia, of course, and Florida as well. And you see that this will drift on northward, maybe hug the coast of the Carolinas, but not do much of anything based on what the European model is saying. And it's primarily due to the amount of dry air that's getting entrained into the center circulation. Now, what could maybe increase the chance of some sort of tropical cyclone development to occur is if the dry air somehow isn't as strong as the computer models expect at this point. However, based off the current trend, it seems it's becoming increasingly unlikely that we're going to see some sort of tropical cyclone development. And while the chance of tropical cyclone development is still at 30%, I wouldn't be surprised if it lowers as the computer models and the National Hurricane Center gets more certainty with what type of tropical cyclone they're dealing with in the future. Now, taking a look at the model intensity guidance for Invest 90L, you see that pretty much majority of the computer models are expecting this to remain tropical storm status with only 2 outliers. However, this model shouldn't be taken that seriously since it's taking this as a category 1 hurricane, which is 1 against the many other computer models which disagree. So I wouldn't take this computer model too seriously, as of course the most likely scenario is that this remains below tropical storm status with at worst this might become a weak tropical storm, but definitely not coming close to category 1 status, as the most likely scenario will be that this will remain this won't become a tropical storm. Now, taking a look at the current tracking from the computer models, you see that the GEFS model tracks are mainly bringing it right around Jacksonville, close in proximity to Jacksonville, and we see some landfalls in Georgia as well. However, this will be really weak, and in states like in those states, especially along the coast of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, you won't really notice that there's any sort of tropical disturbance impacting your area, since really at worst it's gonna primarily bring just scattered showers like you typically see on a regular day, and maybe gusty winds at times and some elevated surf. However, I do not expect this to be a major concern along the coast. Just worry about some enhanced risk of showers along the coast of the Southeast. Now, taking a look at the Futurecast Radar to see what type of thunder showers you should experience from Invest 90L, which still has the potential of becoming tropical storm Fred, but I think it's increasingly unlikely at this point. But you see that we do see thunderstorm activity along the coast, not a ton, but you see that a lot of the thunderstorm activity will mainly come from this oncoming trough that's going to move south wet southeastward, and we shouldn't see that much thunderstorm activity, as really Invest 90L isn't really separating itself when it comes to thunderstorm activity from the everyday thunder showers you see in the southeast during the summer. So I don't expect this to be a major flood or heavy rain threat as I initially anticipated, which is definitely great news, because I did expect it to be a little bit more concerning, but it seems like there's just too much dry air that Invest 90L is in training for any sort of major heavy rain threat to come out of Invest 90L. However, you still need to keep track of at least areas where the rain could be heavy at times, where some areas over the next 5 days could receive up to 2 inches of rain, but I'd say a lot of that is not associated with Invest 90L at all, as I primarily correlate this heavy rain towards troughs or the everyday sun showers you see during the summer throughout the southeast. So I don't expect this to be a major threat. Thankfully, even if this does form into tropical storm threat, it should be very weak. So here's my current track for Invest 90L. You see that I'm taking this further northward, impacting the Carolinas, and I don't expect it there to be much of a heavy rain concern, whether this develops into a tropical storm threat or not. But yeah, this is definitely great news that this won't really be that major of a tropical cyclone, and hopefully it stays that way for the rest of the hurricane season, even if it doesn't seem likely. But for outside of tropical storm threat, it's very quiet in the hurricane season. The main development region is still getting swallowed up by Saharan dust, so that's definitely gonna inhibit tropical cyclone development for the time being. However, it could change just like that, especially once we head into the month of August. So do not underestimate the hurricane season just yet, as there's still a long way to go. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content. And I hope you guys have a good day.